Let's go over the vehicles. This 3026 vehicles, the very first one here is my favorite vehicle. Or one of my favorite vehicles. Not this one, actually. It's not, I don't like that one. There's Savannah Master. So Savannah Master, in one of my previous discussions, one of our viewers challenged me to a duel of sorts with 5 million mega credits. So I chose a whole bunch of Savannah Masters, and that of course was deemed unfair or was it was too much an advantage. So I'll instead just pick like a few Savannah Masters and just, I don't know, waste the rest of the money or something. But the Savannah Master is a perfectly legitimate 3025 era mech, vehicle, even though it was just only appeared by surprise during the Fourth Succession War. So technically not the year 3025, but if you're in 3027, maybe it's already showed up. It's armored personnel carriers, hover, track, etc. Scouts. Warrior, this one is worth some discussion. Now, there's several variants of this. The Warrior H7 is the one with the AC2 and the SRM. The H7A carries SRM, this drops the SRMs and upgrades the AC2 to AC5. The problem with that is that then you have to get in too close and you can get shot down. If you're in the 3025 strict era and you have a Warrior, nothing can shoot it down because it's fast and it's got the AC2. So as long as you play super conservatively, you basically can't get taken down. Harasser, hovercraft. J. Edgar, a very high performance hovercraft for the battle value. Scorpion light tank, it's a kind of a medium so-so. Hydrofoil, I don't play with those. Karnovs, one of the must-haves if you have infantry. You want Karnovs. They're super cheap battle value, but don't have any weapons. Hunters, these are good. LRM Hunter variant is good. Pegasus, a high performance for battle value. Saladin, this one is one of the better vehicles also for its battle value. It's got an AC20, so it's kind of like a Hetzer on steroids that moves around fast. There's a Saracen. It's a mixture of weapons and things. Scimitar also has an AC20. Striker. This one is one of my favorite vehicles. It's wheeled, but you can have SRM, LRM hybrids that protect your LRM carriers, or you can get SRM only variants and other things like that. Engineering vehicle does not really get used. The Hetzer is a perfect ambush vehicle. AC20. It has a lot of AC20 ammo, but you're probably going to lose it to battle damage before you run out. Goblin, this one is really good for carrying infantry. The variant that's shown here seems to have a missile carrier and a missile launcher instead of a gun. Usually has a large laser as its main turret weapon. Muckbuster fighter, this never really get used. Condor heavy tank. This one has a mishmash of weapons. I never really understood it that well. Drillson, yet another mishmash of weapons. Maxim, this one is great for carrying a platoon. You can carry a whole platoon, whereas a goblin can only carry a squad. So you need 4 goblins to carry a platoon. Planet Lifter air transport doesn't really get to used. Vedette, this is the standard generic tank. It's kind of so-so performance. Bulldog, much better than, strength-wise, it's better than a Vedette. Battle value to performance, it's nothing special. It's like a good vehicle, though. High Scout drone carrier, don't really use them. Now LRM and SRM carriers. Now the LRM carrier in particular is very good for its battle value. Does a lot of damage. The only thing is that if you go, it also doesn't have any heat, because your heat does not count for LRMs in a vehicle, so you can basically just launch off LRMs like crazy. Manticore, this is one of the ultimate performance per battle value, all around good tanks. Pike support vehicle doesn't really get used much. Monitor doesn't really get used much. Demolisher, premier frontline damage and deep brawler type tank. Twin AC-20s, frightening. Partisan, the AC-2 version is really good for anti-aircraft. The AC-5 is good for anti-mech. Shrek, this is just a frightening DPS support. A very good direct fire version. Instead of the LRM carrier, you can go for Shreks. Sturmfeuer, the LRM variant of the Sturmfeuer is like the pure LRM version is pretty powerful. However, in 3025, there are no variants yet, but later on, there's variants like the LRM variant. Ontos, this one has, again, this is like a Demolisher, except this would be better for anti-vehicle than anti-mech. AC-20s on the Demolisher are better than the equivalent damage lasers, but this one does more shots. So Demolisher is not so good against vehicles, but it's good against mechs. Whereas Ontos is good against vehicles and not as good against mechs. The Behemoth, this is like just this ultra mega tank, but it's kind of vulnerable because it's a vehicle. So I think it's over investing in a unit because you pay a lot for it and then you just get like a LBX-10 or some scatter shot or SRMs that take it out. So I don't like them, but hey, maybe you have a good way of using it.